Food. It is as essential as air is to breathe and water is to drink. Food is life. But where does our food come from? The Bahamas has more than 2,000 farmers, but it's hardly enough to keep up with our growing population. Or is it? We travel the nation to find out the answers to the questions everyone is asking. Can we grow enough fruit and vegetables? Can we raise enough sheep, goat, and chickens? Can we catch enough fish to feed a country with almost 400,000 people? Keep watching as we find out from the people who make it happen. Can we feed ourselves? Just under 50 miles east of New Providence sits the island of Eleuthera. At 110 miles long and no more than a mile wide at its widest point, Eleuthera is known as the Isle of Freedom. Its first inhabitants were the Arawak Indians, found here by Christopher Columbus. Like the others, they too were eliminated due to disease and slavery. They call the island Sigateo, but the name was permanently changed to Eleuthera following the landing of the Puritans led by Captain William Sale in 1648. Eleuthera comes from the Greek word Eleutheros. It means freedom. The settlers, known as the Eleutheran Adventurers, chose that name because their mission was to set up the Western Hemisphere's first democracy, predating the American independence by more than a century. Preacher's Cave is where they settled, making Eleuthera the most continuously inhabited island in the Bahamas. Farming was a big part of the island's economy up to the 1980s. However, farming went on a decline, replaced by tourism and fishing as the island's main economic drivers. Colonial Farm sits on under 5 acres of rocky hilltop in Lower Bogue, Eleuthera. You won't find any of the rich red clay soil that Eleuthera is famous for here. Luann Knowles Fortune is the former nurse who's looking to bring healing through food.
I'm growing power fruits and culinary as well as medicinal herbs and spices. What is that? This is oregano.
Oh, oregano. Oh,
That's used a lot in Italian
yeah.
pastas. Yeah. And so that's what I'm into. I chose power foods because I have a health background. I've worked as a nurse for 30 years and I'm trying to marry the two. Provide food at the same time, provide healing.
She says her goal is to grow good food as close to the old ways as possible.
I haven't changed the topography of this land, just like how God created it, staying that way. I only moving the rocks, and I put like the rocks around some of the trees, you see? Like as they get bigger, I rock them in so that if the wind blows, they don't topple. But as for changing the land, bringing in a tractor, that's not my kind of farming. I'm doing it my Grammy style.
Having seen the effects of poor eating habits up close, Luann was determined to make a difference. It started as a hobby, but quickly grew into a career. She's been very strategic about what produce she grows, always looking at the health benefits first.
In another year or so, when you come out, there'll be a lot of papaya. Yeah, I have them springing up all over the place. Here too, you can see them there. So, and I started back in 208 actually. I started piece by piece, but you know, in the clinic you don't have time for this. So this is far as I've got. I have a little bit more to finish, and the farm will be finished. Right now I'm selling to a lot of the local hotels and restaurants. as well as the local residents of the area, tourists, winter residents. And I'm growing leafy vegetables as well. The herbs I'm also selling to the hotels, oregano. I have as well as parsley, cilantro. I'm growing as well. Rosemary, fennel, dill. What else I have out here? I have a lot of greens as well. Fruits, I have guavas, I have pomegranates, avocados, lemons as well.
And your traditional stuff?
Yeah, I also have the traditional stuff. The pigeon peas, the cassava, sweet potato, that we would have grown a long time ago as Bahamians, peas, beans. I'm trying to keep that alive.
First one of the World Trade Center towers collapsed. Yes, collapsed. It looks like one of those scenes of an old building being, purposely dynamited and blown up. In this case, hijacked air.
9/11, when all of the air traffic slowed down and tourism slowed down, everything slowed down. And if we can't import food for whatever reason, should a war broke out, what's going to happen to the Bahamas? So I think the Bahamas government need to really strategically look at improving the amount of food that we are producing locally, encouraging local farmers. Not so much big farms, but the smaller farms. If you have about 30 farms my size, in the long run, it'll pay off.
Luann says she thinks about it as a form of national service and hopes others will venture into farming as a second career. We asked if she thought we could feed ourselves.
Definitely. I think the Bahamas can definitely feed itself. And it starts with a local farmer like me. More farmers means more food. So we need to encourage more people to get into farming. And they can start out small like how I started. And they can just expand, but then you need more support in order for persons to really get into farming.
Her realism comes from being on the front lines of trauma for more than 30 years. She says she's grateful for the local support her farm has gained so far and believes that over time, others will join the business of growing healthy foods.
First of all, you would need determination because initially you won't be making a lot of money, but in the end it will pay off, especially if your trees start to produce, and the more you put into it, the more you get out of it. So I would encourage them to join it, start out small, and eventually, hopefully the farm will grow, and as it expands, they will be able to make money. But if they come right into farming expecting to make money, they're not going to be able to make it. You have to have some other support.
Most of her business is with the local restaurants and hotels in her area. Luann says she plans to expand her roster of power foods as long as the demand is there. In the meantime, she'll continue to plug away at her farm in the hills. Everybody knows him as Fine Threads because of his style of dress and his transportation business. But this former body repairman for Sandpin Motors wants the world to know about this: his farm. His real name is Frederick Neely, and he's been farming for just as much time as he's been building his taxi, tour, and car rental business in North Eleuthera. The 30-acre farm in Lower Bogue was inspired by a farm operated by his brother. But he says it's about more than that. He's got it all figured out.
Can the Bahamas feed itself?
Yes, sir.
Why? How?
How? Easy. I did a calculation for at least 3,000 farmers. Start the program. And if the government would put in place 6 acres of crown land possibly for each farmer, well, that'll give us 18,000 arable acres of land, which will cut that cost in a shorter space of time. I'll say within 6 to 8 months we will have that 92% cut all the way down to at least 50 3%. We cut that straight down the bottom.
The farm grows cabbages, tomatoes, sweet peppers, onions, bananas, lime, sour oranges, and a variety of other crops. He's preparing for it by experimenting with produce his hotel and restaurant customers are looking for. It's a good strategy he hopes will make his 2018 a great one on the farm. He says he knows the summer and a threat of hurricanes can be a challenge, but he's hoping the government will help farmers when they need it most.
January has been a very good season for the country. We've started out with a bang, and I honestly believe we will end in a bang in 2018. And to get some banana crops, mainly I noticed the tomatoes have done well. I understand that we need more zucchinis, cucumbers, and onions we know that we will have, but then we also can have another onion, which is a summer grade onion. I'm attempting to plant, along with another grade of tomatoes that I have. And if you can see, I will show you around here. I travel with a tomato in my taxi and a coconut all the time.
We spend on average $1.4 billion a year importing food. What could that money do to communities like North Eleuthera and other similar type communities if we were actually importing a bigger percentage of the food we eat?
If the government takes note of what is imported in and put $500 million guarantee for the farmers, that the farmers in this country can produce up to that 500 million guaranteed they can produce it. With that sort of help, I believe there's a lot of young people who venture into this sort of agricultural business. So as you see, I'm doing tomatoes and cabbages and a whole lot of stuff, and I believe we can do even better with 3,000 men out there. And if you put 50 million on every one of our produce exchange, put it on the door. Now 50 million will do it'll put a whole dent inside of the economy and cause the Bahamas to be independent of the importation of the detriment to what we eat today.
Neely also believes that farming is a way to help young Bahamian males find themselves, and he's determined to do whatever he can on his farm to help. He says he doesn't mind taking the time to grow two businesses at the same time. Growing is something he's good at. He's been at it since the early 90s and wants others to see his success as something to be emulated. That's why he never passes up the opportunity to talk about his farm with everyone he comes across.
My experience at BAMSI has been, I would say, second to none. You know, we get to learn about what really happens in the ocean, you know, the largest part of our country. We need to care for our marine resources, and marine science taught to me by BAMSI could help me could help all of us to manage those resources. BAMSI has taught me how to be sustainable, you know, how to care for the environment. I believe that BAMSI will have such a positive impact in years to come that people will look back and say, wow, not just in food security, but sustainability in general, you know, managing our resources. This is one of the only institutions in the world that marries both agriculture and marine science. You can learn by Bahamians about the Bahamas, your country, and really learn how to give back. I believe that BAMSI will help the country to move forward.
I have tasked the ministry and the Department of Marine Resource to come back to me with concrete ways that Bahamians could get involved in the deep sea part of fishing, where I believe even more resource, where I know even more resource resides that can help us in terms of our exports. Traditionally, we have always been a shallow fishing people. We go after the species that are easy to catch, the crawfish and the other fish, the groupers and others that basically live in, that are in the shallow water areas. So we're looking as to how we move Bahamians while not abandoning our shallow fishing, maximizing it still, but moving us into deeper waters where there is reports of even larger reserves of conch. than just in our shallow waters so that we can increase the export. Right now we export about 100 million. I could tell you I want to see next year perhaps 200 million. Year after that 300 million. So we need to be able to get others involved in the industry to see that happen. And I believe it will have a great impact on the economic growth and development of the economy and country.
What if there was a place just off the coast of a major island in the Bahamas where the water wasn't just the only way to get there, but also a way of life? And what if in this mythical place, the mastery of the seas and knowledge of ancient fishing grounds have built a community where prosperity is everywhere to be seen? And what if in this place, the prosperity is balanced equally with an ethos of hard work, a close community, and national pride in everything they do? This community is not a fantasy. It's a reality lived every day in a place called Spanish Wells. In the 70s and 80s, Spanish Wells had the smear of being labeled a drug transshipment spot. Those days are long gone. The money that fuels what is considered the most prosperous community in the Bahamas comes from Spanish Wells being the fishing capital of the Bahamas and our country's #1 exporter of lobsters. The island is actually named St. George's Key and is joined by a bridge to a smaller island called Russell Island. While there's some farming done on the island, fishing is king. The colorful nature of the residents of Spanish Wells is everywhere to be seen. But don't let that fool you. As much as they know how to have fun, they also know how to work hard.
I like to play music.
It's a balance that goes back to the original settlers of this tiny 3-mile-long key. Many of the residents can trace their ancestry back to the Eleutheran adventurers in 1648. Their ancestors traded living in Preacher's Cave on the mainland for Spanish Wells, and the sea has been their way of life ever since. The connection that the people of Spanish Wells have to their past is a strong part of their drive to preserve the future. That's why the career of a Spanish Wells fisherman starts from childhood.
My name is Thomas Leo Pinder. I'm from Spanish Wells. I took over the water spout 1, this is the water spout 2, when I was 18 years old. I've been catching for 10 years now, and I catch a lot of lobster and a lot of fish.
Pinder is concerned about the future of our fishing grounds. He says there has to be something left for future generations.
Everyone ain't honest. Everyone won't be. But if you have the majority in the Bahamas who's honest and who like to preserve this industry could go on and on and on. But you know, you have some people who want it today instead of tomorrow. I'm a type of guy. I'm good today. I'm worried about tomorrow.
The last 3 hurricane seasons have had mixed results for Bahamian fishermen. While the haul was much better than in previous years, Pinder says he's not so sure everyone will do as well in the upcoming season.
This go around now, especially after Hurricane Irma, what damage was done to the southern Bahamas, it's unexplainable. Like, I can't even see an inch of bottom from the southern banks right now to even look for anything, even if it's left. So what the story's untold on whether or not we're going to have any condos left anywhere in the south yet. So we got to learn this before the end of the season, and then once the end of the season comes along, hopefully in the summer when the weather's a little better, the mud's clear down, and we could go out and look for some more condos. Maybe try to get ready for the August trip.
The future Pinder wants to see is one where the bounty of our seas can employ thousands of fishermen throughout the Bahamas using sustainable practices. He thinks there's enough out there to feed our nation and export well into the future. but he's deeply concerned about some very real threats that remain unchecked.
If it was regulated to where, yes, I think we can. I really do. I see a lot of potential out on the seas. Before I even started catting, I was going out on the Sea Gem, my father's boat, from when I was 11 years old, bagging up their product, and we was taking care of all of that. And yes, I do. I see a lot of small crawfish that's just under measure, ready to be hooked, but they cannot be hooked yet. So I think in the future, if it was preserved properly, and the Defense Force was doing the job that they were out there to do, and people were being honest and hooking crawfish the way it should be done, yes, I do think that the fishing industry could supply the Bahamas with food. It has been for many years, and it will continue. But as long as we have these Dominican poachers coming in the Bahamas, see, people may think it's all a big joke. But I can tell you right now, as a young man, I know what I'm telling you is straight up cold hard facts. I've seen it with my own two eyes, and people don't understand because they're not out there to see it.
The encroachment on Bahamian fishing grounds is a hot topic for fishermen everywhere. For Spanish Wells fishermen, the issue is quickly approaching a boiling point. They're desperate for the government to intervene. While they appreciate the work of the Royal Bahamas Defense Force, they say it's simply not enough.
I could tell you something and it don't mean nothing, but when you see it for your own two eyes and you see the damage that they are doing, then you say, oh yeah, boy, if they do this every time they come out, we're in trouble. And they've been doing it now for years and years. I'd say I spotted the first Dominican on Key Lopez Bank about 10 years ago. I was like, oh, who are these people? Why are they here? You know, what are they doing in our waters? None of us Bahamians go in their waters to do none of this. We don't go in the Florida waters, but you have Floridians coming here, doing all the damage they could, carrying all our product back to Florida, selling that, and we ain't getting a dollar out of it. I want to know what is going on. Why is the waters not being regulated the way they should? Defense Force vessels are being paid, the people are being paid. What are they being paid for? You know, it's like, I'm a young man, I have to pay to invest all this money. I invest $500,000 a year just to keep this industry going on this boat. You know, I'm the youngest cap in the fleet, and I feel like if I don't do something now, there ain't gonna be no tomorrow fishing. What you go eat? You go eat sardines? You know, you ain't gonna eat no conch, because the conch's gonna be gone. You know, so we done dealt with all this. You know, we just need to put this in place now with this new government that's in. And we open and praying every day that something is done with this industry, because this industry is gold if people want it to be. And we could be platinum. It's just people ain't doing the right thing. They worried about today and not tomorrow.
Pinder says Bahamians who profit off of Dominicans fishing in our waters is a big part of the problem. But they're not the only issue. American-flagged charter boats and pleasure crafts are also taking lobsters and groupers from Bahamian waters during the closed season. Fishermen see these infractions all the time, and they're frustrated about the fact that they are powerless to do anything. He says that's got to change.
I think that it would help out a lot. Now, I speak with a few commanders on the Defense Force. They work with me. Commander Dean, Commander Tellis Bethel, a few of those. Yes, they do work with me. And they help me out in any way they can. But I'm talking, if I could go there, take their boat, make a citizen's arrest, and do what we got to do in the Bahamas, ask the honest fishermen who's paying their licenses, who's paying for the permits, who's paying for all of this stuff that we have to run a business. You know, you can't just come in the Bahamas and think that, hey, everything's mine, I'm taking it all. Well, that ain't gonna happen in front of my face. You know, I tell you the truth. I'll call the Defense Force right away, and I'll assist them in any way possible that I can to come there and arrest these guys, get them out, burn the boat, and be finished with this. We don't want them in our country. They are totally ruining the Bahama banks.
For the fishermen of Spanish Wells, our seas represent life and death. They're close to it in every which way, and the continued challenge of illegal poachers as well as the uncaring Bahamian fishermen who raid traps may result in a tragedy on the high seas. Stories of being fired upon by Dominicans are common with Bahamian fishermen. They feel it's an act of war, except their respect for our laws make it difficult to fight back. In the meantime, the pillage continues.
I want to show you all what we fishermen go through. I just bought these traps after the hurricane. After the hurricane, see that trap there? That's Dominicans. See that? See down there? That's Dominicans. See up there? That's Dominicans. That's the traps I just bought about 2 months ago. Couple months. Look here. Look at down there. Look here. Look at that. That's what fishermen have to go through with. This boat just coming with these traps. I want to show you all something. I want to show you all. Look at that. Look at that. The trap you just buy. You know? I ain't paid the bank for these yet. Look here. Look here. That's what the Hammond fishermen have to go through with. Look here. Just buy these traps. After losing everyone from the hurricane. See down there again? After losing everyone from the hurricane and investing more money to buy so I could give 12 people a job, keep them working. This what we going through with. You all don't know, you all have the slightest idea what fishermen just go through with. Slightest. And we just spent $200 million on the Defense Force boats. But this what the fishermen just go through with. See him? Look at him.
It's not worth it. You go cry when you ain't got no fish on your table to eat. And many Bahamians love fish. They love lobster, they love conch. Well, all this is a big time. This is what makes the Bahamas culture. These fish, these crawfish and this conch. Who goes to the Bahamas without any conch salad and drinking a collect? You know, all this you need to take in mind and think, well, if they keep doing this, we ain't gonna have nothing. And it's true. It really is true. Years ago, when I first started as a younger fisherman, I remember stopping, man, just diving up the conchs. We'd go there every trip, dive about 100 conchs, and it was a bed of conch. Now I go there, I can't find one. What that tell you? It's been scraped like everything else. These Dominican divers, they don't come up to top water. All they do, they bottom dive. And when you bottom dive, you getting everything on the bottom. You ain't leaving nothing behind. They got 30 feet of wire, solid fish, anything. Parrotfish, little grunts, little snappers, little yellowtails. You'd be surprised to see what these people really do. And it's really affecting our industry, and it needs to be taken care of and stopped right away.
Pinder thanks his father, uncles, and his grandfather for the lessons he's learned. He's been able to do a lot for his fellow residents as the owner of a boat in the fleet. To him, that represents an investment in his community that is worth far more than anything else. But he's afraid of what can happen if the problems continue without some dramatic change.
I think it's a good investment to invest in the fishing industry. I do. But if you got people beating you to the condos and you get there and they're empty, well then we got big problems. And then Bahamas, please, hear me out right now when I speak to you all on fishing. People may say, yeah, he's young and all that, but let me tell you, don't mind age with me. I've been doing this for many years, and I've learned a lot. I've really learned a lot from a lot of mistakes that I have made in the past, but now that I look at it, I'm worried about tomorrow. Today is okay.
We are very, very excited here at BAIC because we're bringing fresh produce and fruits from the family islands, grown by farmers at very affordable prices, and they're harvested the same week and brought to Bahamian consumers and for families to put food on the table in a very affordable way. And we at BAIC, we are making that happen, and we're doing it every Saturday. This is BAIC, growing, partnering, empowering.
Lady Di is the name she uses, but Diana Thompson is probably the most well-known pineapple farmer in the Bahamas. Not just because of the produce she farms, but also because of her wit, humor, and the stories she tells.
She goes sitting in the truck, so let's roll. What? But I had to tie the other little one because there's one though, and they got in the front. This mommy had 3 and she. So I had to bring him on. Yeah. So what you're looking for now? Janet gonna legalize this thing that I could grow the first AK. Me and Steve, boy, me and Steve. Bueno, look, what you checking out?
Lady Di moved to Eleuthera from Long Island a long time ago, but she remains rooted in her island living.
And Pigeon Bee had to weed in the corn because we had to get that corn to make grits. That was dinner with a piece of boiled bonefish. They ain't want you to catch no bonefish, but child, please. Mr. Wells could be in the boat with me. I bring in that big bonefish home. What? What?
Despite her funny persona, Lady Di knows how to handle her business.
Number one, you see how the packing houses used to be so crowded? And there's too much of everything? And like my Steve used to say, Lady Di, go out and look for your customers. I've been to the packing house for years. Hey, Steve? And then if people want things and he know, he'll say, well, Lady Di, get it, or you stuff like that. You've been having stuff go to the packing house and the people say, only waiting. And they put it on their truck. See him right there. So Bahamians are buying more products and stuff, but what we need, I can swear now, we need a tractor, and we need something to till the soil, to turn the soil up. Then poor little Haitian with the grubbo, what they need to do in 3 months, man, the little tiller could do that in 1, 2, or 3 hours.
So like a tiller that's a community thing
even if it's government, wants the same guy who they train to do the alongside the road, that's all you need. You just put that little thing and go, and Lady Di could just stop her seeds and she can't be raking. Oh, I just get the tractor up there because I want to grow some more peppers and stuff.
While she has a couple of farms, Lady Di's favorite plot is not too far from where she lives, but it takes some off-road driving to get there. She's found her way as a farmer due to a lot of trial and error. Her biggest lesson, she says, is to remain open-minded about trying new products and adding value to them through processing. By processing tomatoes, pineapples, papaya, sweet pepper, watermelons, and other produce, she's gained a whole new market for her goods. She believes too many farmers are missing out on opportunities to make real money by only focusing on the foods they grow instead of adding value to them through processing.
My biggest crop is pineapples, and then I used to grow sweet peppers and Steve. Everything, a little bit of everything. And then you figure out what you make more money off of, so you slack on them soul sellers and
you should have stood up for service, right?
Yeah, on my Steve, I make so much money over them. I going out to the store just now to get some detergent. Woman said later, I say, what? It's bad timing. I just do good, because you see, like these sweet peppers here, I let them get red, and that's what put coloring in my hot sauce. The red, like these tomatoes now, I'll take them off. It's easy to do, even with people who want to do preservatives. You put your tomato in the freezer, and you take it out the next morning, and you just get the paring knife and just peel that skin right off. Cook them down with a little pinch of salt, not so much of vinegar, and you could can your whole tomatoes. Yeah. This is Lady Di factory, and when we clip the tomatoes, and we drain them in like one of those black rubber buckets that all the water could drain out. And then we use this here as our grinder.
Oh, okay.
We did this, and this is my little capper. I don't sit down, so what I do, I stand up and cap because my legs is be tired. But this was too much for our drummer, so I had to do this in this big pot on the stove. And this is the capper. And I suggest it because the spring did mess up. My husband, poor fella, he drilled a hole just for the collect and this hole for the sands. I get $25 a case.
Lady Di's bottled tomatoes are a year-round seller that earns her some good money. But she's learned over the years to keep her eyes fixed on opportunities everywhere.
You could get 50 cents a pound for watermelon. See, I get a piece of pine and back. I want Tonio, he don't carry the water. I want to spray all the little shankers and things. When we spray that, I put in liquid iron, 2020 and the atrazine. 2 weeks after I done spray that, I go and shoot with a watermelon. 1 block at a time. So I'll have, if I get 5 blocks, I'll have 5 different sets of watermelons. Yeah, you know what I should do? I know the fest coming up, I go back. I say, now boy, if I plant them now, these be fest. Here's a piece of cycle, pumpkins over there, and watermelons over here, and pine over there. Yeah, because see, they want something to carry back. All them defense force people, ball tomato. Right? But ain't everybody. I try to encourage my little niece, Rebecca. And I tell her, don't give up.
Lady Di says she's happy for the lessons she and her late husband, Cooley, taught their children. She's disappointed that too many of today's children on the islands are not taking farming seriously. But she doesn't blame the children.
And us, our parents, spoiling these children, saying, I want to work hard as I work. Yeah. So they ain't carrying them in the field. They ain't learning them how to plant nothing. But yet, Mommy, I could get an orange. Could I get that grapefruit? Then you could plant. I get an orchard, ask Steve. Yes, and they do the mangoes and thing. I say, Steve, bro, I won't. When Cooley coming off the modernistic, make plenty money over him. And this little child, Tonio, he make my heart come full last week. He say, he was showing somebody the pine. Well, you know, Cecil, he hit. So Steve, I out front again with the...
Okay, yeah, okay.
Look so pretty. Cecil, he say, see what my old man leave for us.
Lady Di's son Antonio is a big part of our operations, but she's happy that he's gearing up to expand into his own fields. The family business doesn't stop there, as Lady Di's daughter and niece are also cashing in on the demand for Eleuthera Sugarloaf pineapples.
No grass in Lady Di's field.
Lady Di says she doesn't want to make the mistake of focusing on only one crop, so she's diversifying her farm to grow more mangoes, citrus, and bananas. She's thinking about adding more acres under cultivation, but she's being cautiously patient as she grows her current crop.
Some people think, well, all people, they want to make $1 million in the first 6 months. But I remember, first I grew was 8 dozen vines. That's all I did break 1 year, and then people a little mean. You know how we Bahamians go, black crab syndrome. If they think you can make something out of something, they ain't selling you none of the slips and they ain't giving you none. So you say, but anyway, next year'll be more, and that's how I get to expand. Now, my daughter Sabrina, she get a nice young pineapple field down the road. It just as you come in off the main road. And she doing good. She said, Mommy, this next year, she said, this can close my house and furnish it out. You see, and now he's saying, Mommy, boy, I want to make my pineapple field, so we want to be the pineapple farmer. And I sit down and count the millions. But like, I'm joking. Let me tell you something. That's what the guy was there talking about just now. You only see the Haitians with stuff. Yeah. To the boat, you know.
Yeah.
You know, they can't bring nothing to the packing house, but they still out there farming. So what we passing by, they picking up, although it ain't right. Because like me and you, we got to pay for our farmer's license and stuff like that. And then they farming. And you buying it from them because you need it.
Lady Di says Eleuthera is bound to bounce back as a farming hotspot in Bahamas. The pineapple fields are full, and more farmers are growing product every day, and that makes her happy. She says the baby steps are the most important ones, but we should remain realistic about our goals of being food secure.
We won't be able to feed ourselves right now, but every year you could bite a little chunk off it and chunk off it and chunk off it, and then like hot sauces, like I do. Okay, we ain't never say we could go in the store and buy no mango jam. I make mango jam, papaya jam. What? Guava. I do the pineapple pepper sauce. I just put so much cups of the pineapple, blend it up, the mango pepper sauce. Man, I just get $84 a case. I ain't gonna tell you what them other people be selling it for.
Before we left the farm, Lady Di shared one more story about the time former BAIC chairman Edison Key came to visit the farm.
Hi there, boy, and he had this pretty nice, clean white shirt. And he had it all up like this. And I know some pine was in there already, right? So I said, Mr. Key, I think I see one pine. I said, but you gotta go get her. Boy, you gonna step into here? I said, yeah, coming in the field and your son the best. Put on jeans.
My name is Romeo Josie, and I'm from Exuma. My dream, agrotourism. I envision owning and operating my business on the islands of my heritage with having people visit. I want them to come and stay where they can get exotic fruits. I've had this dream since I was first introduced to the subject at BAMSI. What I learned at BAMSI was how to marry the science of agriculture and the art of agriculture. Learning at BAMSI takes place in the classroom, but it also happens in the field. BAMSI is so important for the Bahamas because it helps the young generation to understand how important agriculture is to this country. BAMSI is also helping us to realize the vision of our forefathers, as this country can be great and have an awesome economy through diversification in agriculture and marine. Now I have a role to play in the future of farming in the Bahamas. BAMSI is definitely changing lives for a stronger Bahamas.
We are very, very excited here at BAIC because we're bringing fresh produce and fruits from the family islands, grown by farmers at very affordable prices, and they're harvested the same week and brought to Bahamian consumers and for families to put food on the table in a very affordable way. And we at BAIC, we are making that happen, and we're doing it every Saturday. This is BAIC, growing, partnering, empowering.
When folks come to the Bahamas, they're coming looking to experience something that's different, something that they didn't or don't have where they reside. And so at the end of the day, we need to be able to put Bahamian culture on full display, our dishes, the things that we eat. I'm always one that you take, for instance, sugar apple. I don't understand why it is we don't make a much bigger deal out of sugar apple. I love it. I have talked to BAIC, where there's a department that talks about the creation of Bahamian dishes, new dishes. And I've also talked about the discussion of us having a national dish. And I believe that one of the things we ought to do is look at how we could connect our agricultural industry with the hotels in a way that we're providing to the tourists what we eat. When I was in Jamaica, in the all-inclusive, what I found interesting was in Jamaica they are offering dilly as a part of the breakfast. They're offering little pieces of sour sop as a part of the breakfast. You know, they're offering their own native dishes, ackee and saltfish, and bami, and all of these things that they eat. And I'm saying that this is what ought to be taking place within the confines of the Bahamas, and I want to see to it that we move in that direction.
Ask any Bahamian what the symbol of Eleuthera is, and they will tell you it's this: Anansis camosus, or the pineapple. The rich red soil of Eleuthera has made the island the epicenter of pineapple production in the Bahamas. Clever marketing has made the designation of Eleuthera as our pineapple capital an indisputable fact. But much of the farming is in the middle of the island, where the fields are a mosaic pattern of precision planting. Travel further south, and the farming gets a little more primitive. On most farms in the south of the island, farmers are still practicing pothole farming on hilly, charred land that's been heavily used through the slash and burn techniques.
My name is Charles Jefferson Lamont Strachan Strawn, English and Scottish. In the farm I have pigeon peas, cabbage, and in my hand I have beets all in my hand, and a little small squash. And And I grow potato, pumpkin, cassava, broccoli, cucumber, and also bananas is one of them, and cane, onion, another, too much to mention now, can't remember all.
Charlie Strachan, as he likes to be called, says he never wanted to be anything other than a farmer from as long as he could remember. He says he gets great joy out of being able to feed himself and his neighbors from his farm.
I'm getting the farm because of my mother and father, that the late Prince Albert Strawn, the late Dr. Strawn. I was going to field from I 10 years old with them. And so I love farming because it can feed you, sustain you, and you just walk in the field and you can get your supper and everything like that off the farm, and what you don't eat you can sell. So farming is great here in Eleuthera.
Charlie sells a lot of what he grows to the packing house in Greencastle. While he appreciates the business, he says Eleuthera farmers can really use a break when it comes to delivering their crops.
So some people don't hardly grow much there because of the farm pressure of the packing house, paying a little money. Sometimes it takes for nothing, but they have the tendency to raise the price and say you will have more farmers, more younger farmers, farming to get things. If we could sustain ourselves, if we get the government to push down some land and hire people just for farming here in Eleuthera, we can supply everything and have an overrun.
All right. Can the Bahamas feed itself?
Yes, they can. Yes, we can.
Tell me how.
We can feed ourselves simply if we could go into the fish farming and different things. Then you could go into the coconut farming. The coconut brings a lot of money because you will get one coconut, sell a coconut, just cut the head off, put a stick in and sell it for $5 just for the coconut water alone. You also can bottle your coconut water, and all of these can help the economy to be better off today. And one thing again, we can have the coconut, you can grate the coconut and package the coconut and sell it off to all that brain money to this country.
I love fishing, I love farming. See, there's a whole patch right here. Do you see how this is? These to be transplanted, but we're waiting for God rain.
This is Monica Miller, and she's a farmer. This is Kendall Thompson, and he too is a farmer.
I say sometimes you need help from government. You know, to help with cleaning and the fertilizers and stuff like that.
The clothes, I put them to protect the animals from eating the food out the field.
Scared of chickens.
Scared of the chickens. The chickens will eat for everything.
Miller grows her tomatoes, cabbages, finger and hot peppers, as well as onions, pumpkins, corn, and sweet potato on a hillside plot that's a little under an acre. She has more land to grow on, but for now, she says this is enough. She got all of her farming know-how from her father.
He was a fisherman and a farmer, and he learned us how to do everything. So I just got into it and love it, so I just continue.
From a young boy, we used to go in the farm with our daddy. He was a farmer, and every evening we had to go in the farm and help to bring the stuff out and do whatever like that. So I guess that was in our blood, so we just,
While Thompson and Miller focus on different crops, their outlook and approach to farming is very, very similar. They're growing traditional crops in a traditional way. They say getting to the market is their big challenge, and they're hoping that the government can assist. Thompson says he's open to teaching what he's learned to younger farmers to keep farming going on Eleuthera, but the interest has to be there.
Because if more the young people get into farming, I believe, we have the land, so we'll be able to produce enough food for us to eat.
For Miller, greater unity among farmers and better networking is the solution.
If the farmers would get together and everybody grow a portion of this and a portion of that, it'll cut down on some of the expenditures.
Can the Bahamas feed itself?
Yes, it can.
How?
By everybody putting together and doing what is best for the country.
You have a lot of farmers who are up in age, but we do have the land. What advice would you give to young people who need to come into farming?
But all I need is to tell them if they could just look back and see how hard things is and get together and see what they could do and come back into the business and it'll be well. I have four sons and they love it. They have goats, one fishing, and the other two works with me. As young people, they need to get together and see what they could do instead of being out there doing other things. Put their mind and focus and help the country feed itself and feed them. That's the most important thing.
Eleuthera's economy will be tourism-based for the foreseeable future, and that's quite all right with the farmers. They see an opportunity in an expanding tourism sector that's shifting its focus to buying its produce locally. The idea of restoring Eleuthera's prominence as a premier pineapple supplier and exporter isn't far from everyone's mind. Farmers have seen what Eleuthera fishermen can do and are using that success as inspiration to get their piece of the pie. For the fishermen, their hope is that the help they need comes fast so that there is a pie to be shared in the future.